Hey, it's Matt from Black Coal Woodworking. Welcome back. This is an end grain bowl, and this is how not to cut an end grain bowl, because the grains are coming out the bottom there, and that does not cut well. You gotta come from the side like this if you want this to work. Even when roughing out, if you come from the side, you can cut it and just keep going, kind of float the bevel, and it will not be crazy disruptive to your tool or your arm. If you try that on the end grain, it just doesn't work that well. So it took me a bit to figure that out. Once I figured that out, then roughing out the outside of this bowl didn't take too long. This is white oak, by the way. That's a really hard wood, especially if you hit the end grain, but I've talked about that a lot already. The outside I cut with a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. For the finish, I used walnut oil, shellac, and beeswax. To hollow out the inside took forever, and that's partly because it's end grain, and you gotta kind of make a hole in the middle or on the sides and cut toward the middle or cut toward the sides. You can't push toward the center of the bowl because it just doesn't cut that way. And as you can tell, when you do hollow out the bowl, you can see the tree on the inside. I normally don't make end grain bowls this big, but I'm trying it. Let's call it an experiment. Looks really good in my opinion. After I finished hollowing it out, I had to go back to the foot and remove the tenon that I held the bowl with. After cutting the bottom, I added a little more finish to make sure that the whole bowl now had the right finish on it. So after all this finishing, there's still a little nub, and I'm using my skew chisel to get that out of there. Note to self, whenever you do this, make sure your hands are nowhere near where you're pointing that skew chisel. The last thing you want is a hand injury. Yeah, ask me how I know that, and it's not a good story. Anyway, the skew works really well. Obviously, if it's sharp, you can cut through this stuff pretty easily. And it gets a pretty clean finish on the bottom, especially with this being end grain. It just sort of works really well. One more swipe or two with the finish and this bowl is done. It does feel a little bit on the heavy side, but I think that's because of the type of wood it is. Might still be a little bit on the wet side also. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's a bit of a quick one. Thanks for watching. This thing actually fits a watermelon in it. I'll show you that in a second here briefly. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and send me a comment.